Oh!
It's r2youtube.com. That's R, number 2, youtube.com, and tell them Velvet sent you. Oh, yeah.
Let's go down. This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade. Let's go down.
Hey everybody, it's Cody here from Rasslin Rage, and I'm sitting down with none other than Tommy Vendetta, Death Threat Army member. Thank you so much for coming on the show today there, Tommy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome, awesome. So, by the way, everybody, he's on the road right now, heading home from a show that he performed on. I want to ask you, you're pretty new to the business, only like a year, less than a year probably, am I right?
Just a little bit over a year. It's about a year and a couple months now.
Okay, so a year and a couple months. And so, first of all, you look like you're a pretty big dude already. So,
Thanks, man.
no problem. Now, let me ask you. Now, is this something that you didn't develop this because you're a wrestler? This is your lifestyle. You're kind of a guy that likes to be fit. Am I correct?
Yeah, I try to be like from high school through the military, all that. I always tried to stay in good shape.
Oh, for sure. You work out, you stay in shape. And so what exactly turned you on to professional wrestling? Were you a fan of professional wrestling previous to that, or was it something that, you kind of fell into, or what's the story on that?
No, I've always been a fan of it. My dad was a fan of it growing up, so I always remembered we would watch some of it whenever my mom wasn't around and stuff like that. He'd sneak me into the living room. We'd watch a little bit of wrestling and stuff, and then I got hooked on it. So I would just watch wrestling all the time, and I just fell in love with it.
Well, that's good. Now, so you're a kid, you're coming up. Now, I'm not familiar. I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to ask because I don't want to put that out there. But so growing up, who was the one that you said, you know what, that's the person I want to be like?
There was a lot, honestly. I was actually just talking with Rohit Raju, Hakeem Zayn about it yesterday. John Cena was a big one for me, growing up, because I was all about the military stuff,
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do, and he was WWE, he's the face of WWE. Shawn Michaels, I love Shawn Michaels growing up.
Sure. Who doesn't like Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, if you don't like Shawn Michaels, you gotta duck to it and get out,
It's definitely the better answer or better question, right?
But yeah, a lot of the main attitude. Stone Cold's probably one of my favorites, all-time favorites. I just loved his work. I loved him as a dude. And it's just he was great, still is.
For sure. You started training, and you come into training. So where did you start your training?
I started training at Pure Pro Wrestling up in Flint. It is Xavier Justice's school.
Okay.
And I started training with, that's where I started training with Aaron Orion, Ace Evans, Nick Zero, and then when Xavier Justice came back from India, I started training with him as well.
Well, that's nice. So you train with Aaron Orion as well, am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
I got to ask, is he considered the head trainer over there now, or?
I believe Xavier Justice is still the head trainer,
okay.
But I believe I don't really think they have kind of a hierarchy like anything like that. I think they kind of all go in there together. But Aaron Orion is definitely a guy that you want to get trained by and learn from him, because I definitely learned a lot in a very quick amount of time from him.
Sure,
it's helped mold me to who I am now.
Right, and I've heard a lot along them lines that he's one of those guys that you really, that he's one of the better trainers in the state right now, and
oh yeah,
and I had the opportunity to sit down with him, and I got to tell you that guy's passion, his intensity, and I don't even know how to explain. I don't think he even realized how much of a ripple he's made in the pond. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think the exact same thing. holds himself to such a high standard, so nothing he does is good enough for him. But, you know, he's the bar for, you know, guys like me, Carm, Alex Weir, Adam Wick. Like, he's the bar for all of us. Him, the Black Diamond Jack Price, like all those guys.
For sure.
Like, they're just all on a different level right now, and it's amazing to see.
What's something that you found that you like about, you know, something that you didn't know previously about wrestling that you like now that you didn't know previously?
Honestly, I didn't know how much of a brotherhood it was. You know, I figured, you know, independent wrestling, I figured was like, oh, everyone's independent, you know, like you go, you do everything and whatnot. And then, you know, once you get into the WWE, it's like a job. And then, you know, once I got into it and I see everyone like Aaron Orion's passion for it, you know, like I see Jake Something's passion, you know, Hakeem Zayn, all these guys, like, and then that feeds into all of us. And it blew my mind right away, and it helped me kind of fall back into everything, getting out of the military, because it was like shifting from one brotherhood to another.
For sure. Oh, you're a member of the Death Threat Army. And,
yes, sir.
You know, so, and I've talked about this with Aaron. I've talked about it with Jack. I've talked about it with Weaponized. It's something different. There's more to it than a faction. You know, there's more to it. It's like you said, it's a brotherhood. It's a bunch of guys who watch out for each other. There's some rookies, there's some veterans, and the veterans are helping the rookies, and so on and so forth. What's it like for you to be a part of something like Death Threat Army and to have somebody like Aaron Orion and Jack Price at any time that you need them, basically?
Yeah. To me, it's an amazing feeling right off the bat. Like, it was an honor when they brought me in. Like, that was an incredible feeling to me, because I was like, oh man, they see something in me. And then once you know, you see how it is, it's not a faction. To me, it's like we're a family. And, you know, you have, like any family, you have the head of the house, and that's, you know, the Black Diamond Jack Price and Aaron Orion. Like, they're the head. You know, we look at them, we look up to them, and then you have, you know, everyone beneath them. And it's not even like we're beneath them. We're just, like, in the family tree, we fall under them. But it's just deeper to me than a faction. And I think, like you said, you talked with Aaron and Weaponized and all that. We all agree on the same thing. We're not even like a faction to us. We're just a bunch of dudes who love hanging out, and we wrestle together.
Right. Yeah, and that's really awesome, because, you know, like, Alex is like a little brother to me. You know, I've known Alex for quite a while. And, you know, matter of fact, Alex is my instructor, so I have to call him sir. But with that said, it's like, you know, I'm really glad that there's somebody like Aaron Orion and Jack Price for guys like you and Alex, so that you guys don't come into the business and either get taken advantage of, or, you know, whatever it is that could happen, you know. So, I mean, that's some good stuff that there's guys like that to do things like that for you guys.
Definitely, most definitely.
Now, and I've said this to Aaron many times, and I've said it to everybody. He's one of the most intense dudes I have probably ever met in my life. I can only imagine, like, it's looking down the barrel of a gun when Aaron Orion's mad at you, right? Okay, so can you has Aaron Orion ever been mad at you and you've been staring down that barrel of a gun yet, or has that not happened quite yet?
I don't think he's ever been mad at me. I could be
Let's
wrong.
hope not, right?
So if he's listening at all, just tell me if you're mad, Aaron, because then I know to run. But I haven't seen him mad at me, but I see him get annoyed sometimes, because we like to annoy him when we're on road trips and stuff.
Right.
And so I've seen him annoyed, and that definitely, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna back off now. Let me just let me tuck back around, and we'll come back to this later. But no, I haven't seen him really ever really lose his cool or anything like that. For a guy who's very intense, you know, he keeps a level head about him, and, you know, even if something, you know, does happen and something goes wrong or whatever happens, you know, he's very calm, cool, and collected about it. And, you know, it's almost that almost is the most intimidating thing about him, is that, like, nothing gets to him almost.
It's crazy.
It is.
So, you know, you're coming up in the world, and you're training, and, you know, you're coming up with DTA, and you're working along with Aaron Orion and some of these other guys. And, you know, obviously, you work on shows where other guys are on, and you're rubbing elbows with a lot of dudes. So far out of all your matches, so far out of all of them, what's your favorite so far?
I've had a lot lately that have peaked everything. My singles match against Aaron was by far one of my favorites. I definitely, looking back on it, I definitely could have, thrown a few more punches at him. We could have gone a little longer. But it definitely elevated my game, showed me what I needed to really work on, and, how to progress myself. And I think that's why, right now, that's one of my favorite singles. Carm and I just had a singles. That's one of my favorites too. But I gotta say, my match with Alex was definitely an eye opener for me. I knew Alex was good. And same thing with Carm. Like, I knew they were good, but then after those matches, I was like, all right, they're pretty dang good. All right, now I gotta step my game up now.
Right. Now, unfortunately, I was out of the country when you wrestled Alex here in Port Huron, so it sucks that I wasn't able to be there, but I was able to catch it. And it was an amazing match. Now, I have to ask you, you talked a little bit like you were in the military. So what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. Well, thank you for your service, first off.
Oh, thank you.
I got to ask you. So the Marine Corps, obviously we know the Marine Corps they're known as some pretty tough dudes, right? And ladies, we got to put that in there. Training for professional wrestling and then training for, the military, boot camp or whatever. A lot of guys don't make it through boot. We know that. Was boot harder than training for professional wrestling?
In different ways. I think they're both kind of neck and neck almost. It's just for like different reasons. Boot camp, you're mentally and physically drained. You're emotionally drained. And, they're essentially trying to break you down to build you back up and, build you back up as, this lean, green fighting machine. And it's essentially the same way with wrestling, it's not normal to throw our bodies around and put ourselves in the risk like that. And you have to kind of just throw caution out. And it's hard to kind of get that out of your head. So it is, it's very mentally straining with professional wrestling. But they're the two hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, but I'm definitely glad I did them both.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, though, that it's not easy. You're not just going to walk in here and one day become a professional wrestler. There's hard work that comes involved,
Exactly.
And somebody like yourself who is already of a great physical stature, and, that's done, how many years did you serve?
I was in for active duty 4 years.
So active duty 4 years in the Marine Corps, to come out of the Marine Corps and to say that it's hard. It means something, that says something about training to be a professional wrestler in my book anyways.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're training, you're doing all this thing. And I see your guys, I know you guys like to mess with each other on the road there. And I see some of these photos of people drooling and sleeping and all that good stuff. Is that one of the things that, makes professional wrestling what it is, those road stories that you get to tell with the guys?
Honestly, those are like some of the best, worst times we have. On the long trips, we're all kind of large dudes cramped into a rather small vehicle, driving long distances, and we got to make fun of it somehow. So all the pictures and stuff like that, it's just to me it's funny. It's a good memory too. You look back on it and we can all reminisce and laugh, and then you think about the conversations you were having and the matches you had and stuff like that. So to me, that's probably like one of the most important things in independent professional wrestling.
That's awesome. Now, so I mean, we're getting towards the end here, but I want to ask. You did the road stories, and you're soaking it all in. You're in your first, I guess you could say, your infancy stage of independent wrestling, right? And
Definitely.
You're soaking it all in. Has there been that moment yet where you're just kind of like, you got to take a moment and just kind of take it all in to calm yourself down? Have you had to do that yet?
A little bit. A couple of times I've had to kind of rein myself back, kind of like calm myself down so I didn't lose it a little bit. But when Aaron and I wrestled. You know, we had our moment in the ring and stuff afterwards, and you know that moment to me was important because to me I wanted to prove to Aaron. You know, he gave me the nickname the Prodigy, so I wanted to prove to him that I was worthy of it.
Right,
And
I like that.
so that was probably like the moment I was like, all right, I gotta calm myself back down. You gotta be professional in here.
You rein yourself in. You get it under control. I've always, you know, I'm with Alex, so I train too. And one of the hardest things I've always felt for myself is to control my emotions. Not,
Definitely.
you know, it's hard for me to play fight, and I don't take that the wrong way. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Oh no,
So,
I get you.
So with professional wrestling, we know, but how hard is it for somebody like yourself that's trained to kill people, right? You're literally trained to kill people with your bare hands. How is that? Like, so how do you rein that in and not like snap somebody's neck off?
You know, to me it's all fun and games. You know, I look back on it as like when I was a kid and me and my buddies would hang a really crappily made title belt in my tree in my backyard and have ladder matches, you know,
Right.
and I look back at that and I was like, man, we hit way harder than we hit now. Like,
Oh.
but, you know, like,
It's talking to you, Alex.
Yeah. You know, like if someone gets me a little bit, you know, I like it a little bit every now and then. It makes it feel, you know, I'm alive and stuff. But, you know, it does get hard in times, you know. You get aggressive sometimes, but you know that's where you got to rein yourself back in and just be like, all right, remember, we're all at a goal here. So you know, everyone needs to. At the end of the day, you want to make sure everyone makes it home. You know,
For sure. All right. Well, so listen, man, I want to say, you know, hey, thanks so much for coming on.
oh,
But
thanks
befo-
again for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get out of here, why don't you tell everybody your social media where they can, you know, follow your, you know, Tommy Vendetta, and how somebody might be able to, let's say there's a promoter out there that wants to book you, get you on a show and get you a payday, right? So,
Yeah,
you know, put
definitely.
that out there. And, you know, and before you do that, I want to let everybody know that I'm going to put that information down in the description of the video here so that if you feel like you want to reach out to this guy and you want to get him on there because he's going to be one of those dudes that you're going to want to watch, go ahead and you know, go to his Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff that he's going to put out here. And then also, you know, for the promoters, email him, call him, whatever you need to do. So go ahead and give him that information.
Yeah, sweet. For Instagram, it's at Tommy Vendetta _official. Twitter, it's just at Tommy _ Vendetta. And then Facebook, just look up Tommy Vendetta. I can't imagine there's too many of them. And then for booking inquiries, just book Tommy Vendetta at gmail.com. And then I usually can respond rather quickly because I get the alerts pretty quick. But yeah.
I like that. Book Tommy Vendetta. It's easy. That's easy. You don't have to make it stupid. Just make it
That's
easy.
what I'm
I
saying.
like
It's
that.
quick, easy. You know, we're in and out.
You know, you can tell them. You know, you don't even have to make a business card. I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. That's awesome. Just enough questions, but not enough to where we leave it kind of open-ended, so where we possibly got to have you on again someday.
Oh yeah, anytime.
For sure. All right. Well, you know, again, thank you, and I highly enjoy talking to you, and we look forward
Oh
to
yeah, it
seeing
was
you
a great
again.
conversation. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you too, man.
All right. Thank you so much, and have a good one.
We are the Death Road Army. Vehicle City Villain Aaron Orion.
Black Diamond Jack Price,
The Wild Child Jody Threat.
and Weaponized Alex Weir, and you're watching Rasslin Rage live on Friday nights at 8 o'clock on YouTube.